Secret of applying Danny clamps, which one thing that you can do is you can carry a lot of clamps on one arm at a time so you don't have to keep grabbing something. The other thing is they don't hold dirt, everything falls out. When you apply a Danny clamp, it's very easy. You put the clamp on and you move your workpiece where you want it and you wiggle the clamp. When you wiggle the clamp itself aligns the top and the bottom of the clamp so your workpiece doesn't scoot on you. And you put like two clamps far apart on a corner like this, you take two like this. Now the other advantage to the clamps are that you're able to clamp entire countertops all the way around if you got a peninsula or island. Now what you do is you put your adhesive on your triangle block and it goes in the corner. Now I have a special clamp for that. It's a 90-degree corner clamp. And it goes in the corner and it pushes and aligns everything right at the same time.
Let me just tip this a little bit here, and so we can kind of maybe show a close-up of that. Can one of you guys get that? And you can just see the triangle in there. It's really amazing how everything just stays there. I mean, it's...
Yeah, and then this corner is the same thing as you would apply it. You put it on, you wiggle it, you put it where you want it. Now, a lot of fabricators have problems with voids in their corners. If you have a void with Danny clamps, you push down on the clamp. It will push this workpiece forward, and you push in on the bottom of this, and it will actually push your corners together. But to improve and help out the inside this corner, I have a variable angle clamp which goes in here in the corner, and you can actually line up your stair step here on the edge of the deck, and you can move this back and forth so that you got exact space. Once you have everything on, you just sort of fill in the spaces, but remember to wiggle the clamps as you put them on. Now Danny clamps are stamped on the back side of the cutout, so all you have to do is look for the back side. And then here you can just stick a clamp in here, clamp the corner block, and you're done.
How many different sizes of Danny clamps are there?
4. There's a 4-inch, the 6-inch, and the 8-inch and the 12-inch, but there is 2 6-inch clamps. I have one that has a cutout in it, and this is for edges from 3 inches to 7.5. And I can do this with this all day long, and nothing is going to happen.
Now, if you stretch this from 3 inches to 7.5, doesn't the tension increase?
Yes, it does.
Quite a bit?
Well, it's a progression of how an inch. You keep gaining 3 or 4 pounds each time.
Okay.
Now the other.
So Danny, how do you know when to go from one clamp to another clamp?
In my literature, there is a chart that shows what the clamping pressure is for every clamp at every distance that is recommended for each clamp. Now, in some instances, you might have a little whoop-de-doo in your deck. You need a little bit more clamping pressure. The nice thing about Danny clamps, you can take a Cove clamp, put it over the top, and then you've got a clamp that's twice as strong.
Oh, wow, that's great.
So in any instances where you would need more clamping pressure, you're able to do it by double ringing, and in my case of my 12-inch clamps, triple ring them for 1-inch material, which we use on sinks. The other advantages are they won't mark your material. You can use them on everything. A lot of people with spring clamps have problems with getting little burrs on them, and they pull them off and they're scratching their deck. So then you're increasing your fabrication time. Now the advantage to this system is you can router this with a bottom bearing bit and only taking off a 1/16 or an 1/8 of an inch of the deck material, which is a 1/2 inch thick. You router much faster. Once you put a 3/8 or a 1/2 inch round over or an OG on this, all you have to sand on this front edge is a very fraction of a glue line. Your front edge is already the factory finish, so you save almost 35% in sanding time by changing the way you do it. Plus, you don't have to worry about how thick your substrate is.
So then your buildup is always to your template line. That's your countertop size.
Right. Well,
so you're only ever routing a 1/2 inch of a material to bring it back into the template or into the face of the edge.
Face of the edge. which that saves tremendous. Sanding is the biggest time consumer in fabrication. You eliminate most of the sanding, you eliminate most of your fabrication time.
By doing your edge vertical like this, don't you also eliminate the possibility of a bad joint showing?
Yes, you do. And a particulate changing in size where they're trying to, a lot of companies are sitting there taking 1/8 of an inch off, so you keep the larger particles. This way, you've always got the large particles right on the face side. So why would anybody fabricate any other way? I mean, I know that's a pretty stupid question. Yeah,
but
I know it, and I get fabricators that say, well, I got to do 2.5 inches because the customer doesn't like seeing underneath the cabinets. Not many customers are on the floor. That's one out of 100 customers. And that 100th customer, I will paint the bottom of the substrate or put laminate or anything to do it this way. Doing 2.5-inch stack layered, you're throwing away a full square foot for every 12-foot material you're doing. I mean, if you waste 4 square feet on the front edge for making it wider, you're just throwing money away.